So in this chapter, we're going to build out our first shader network, and we're going to focus on materials, shaders, and textures, and breaking down what each one does and how to utilize those within the network. So this will be a little bit review if you guys are coming from the Sword and Stone scene, but I want to go a little bit more in depth because we skipped over quite a bit of information the first time around. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I have one of these connected, and I'm just going to make one. So first up, we'll just select our background right here, our BG right there. So first off, we have our material. This is our material right here, BG, that's our material. Within here, we have our shader network. And we have some shader properties already, the bulk of which is going to come from this principled BSDF. But what we don't have yet is a texture. So let's just start with a very, very basic texture, and we'll explain in detail how each one of these nodes are going to work. So we'll go to add, we'll go to texture, and we'll go to checkered texture. We'll go ahead and just click that in. I'll go ahead and take the color. So if you notice right off the bat, we have gray and we have yellow. So yellow is going to be color values. Gray is going to be, black and white values. So you can think gray, black and white, yellow color. Plug that in. And there we go. So we have our checkerboard assigned to this, but we don't have much control over it. We want to be able to control the tiling, which is getting back to what we talked about before with tileable textures. That's the key word there, tileable. So if we want to tile this thing, what we need to do is drop down a mapping in the UV coordinates. So right now, this is just picking up on the default UVs, but if we go to add and just do a search for UV map, and you see this as purple, that's going to be to a vector. And we'll plug that in, and now it's going to be correctly communicating with the UVs itself. And then the node that we want to put in between here is going to be in mapping. So we'll do search, and then we'll do mapping. And we're going to just drag and drop this, you'll see a little highlight as you create this. You want to wait for the highlight and click on it, and that'll automatically put that in. And now what we can do on the scaling down here is bring this up. So I'll just do something like 4, 4, and 4. So that is us tiling this texture. We're making it bigger or smaller. So that is, the core components of any material. We have our material output right here. This right here is going to be our shader itself. And then we have our texture right here, 2D texture. Now, all we need to do is really swap this texture and then plug different kinds of textures inside of all of these different parameters to get different results. From a technical perspective, that's really all there is. It's really just about getting to know a couple of different nodes, a couple different places to plug them into to get different kinds of results. Sounds really simple, which is why we got the whole rest of the course to kind of do this kind of stuff. That's all we're going to be doing for the rest of the course is really just that. So it's not really that technical. It's going to be more about technique. So to kind of break this down a little bit, our UV map, this is going to be our object coming in. So object is coming in, and then it's getting a texture on top of this. It's getting its material properties, things like specular, roughness, sheen, that kind of stuff. And then the material is the output.